Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to day 2 of Octane. I hope you all enjoyed yesterday's inside look at the last year of life at Okta. It's definitely a new take on the keynote format and a chance to hear straight from the people building Okta every day. The story of innovation really begins with Okta's platform. Our platform is the foundation to build incredible new products and features, while also making those identity capabilities more accessible to everyone in your organizations. Okta's platform approach is core to how we think about identity, but it's also a recognition of the role identity plays in your organizations. All of you want choice in the technology you adopt. It's what enables your organizations to be nimble. It's what keeps your employees happy and productive, and it's what drives your customer experiences forward. It's also what gives you the ability to adapt to whatever changes come your way. In a cloud-centric world, identity has become a true primary cloud, just as important as your other primary clouds like your infrastructure or your collaboration clouds. It's also the secure epicenter of your organization's tech connections. Without security and identity independence, there is no technology choice. And across your organization, that need for technology freedom could not be greater. Because today, identity is top of mind from the boardroom to your spare bedroom, reaching people across every business team. Whether it's security, IT admins, business units, DevOps, or developers, everyone can use the Okta platform to drive business goals. Yesterday, we talked about the Okta Identity Engine, one of our key platform services. It's going to bring all kinds of customization to the access experiences you're building. And along with our other platform services, it makes identity customizable and extensible. For us, creating the best workforce or customer identity platform means offering you a range of options from out-of-the-box configurable solutions to raw APIs and SDKs so that you can build for any use case you dream up. We think every step of the journey should be programmable with a ton of documentation to make auth easy for everyone. That customizability is an especially big deal for customer identity, making it possible for you to deliver on each of the diverse identity use cases your customers need. The potential for customer identity is massive for every organization today. Everyone is moving their business online. And with that push comes the need to not only deliver safe and secure experiences, but to create meaningful ones for your customers. It also means opening up more of our platform to devs for free and allowing you to do some new things with the Okta Integration Network, so that you can automate how identity impacts security and customer experiences. Our product leaders are really excited to talk you through some of the things we're announcing to bring more choice and access for the teams building cutting-edge digital products. But what you're probably really excited about is the announcement we made just over a month ago, our plan to join forces with Auth0. The feedback has blown me away. Not only do we share the same vision, our values and how we operate are tightly aligned. We have the same worldview when it comes to the role identity plays in powering the internet. Each company has its own strengths and expertise, and coming together will give customers more choice to meet every identity need. We're going to maintain and invest in both platforms, and in the background, we'll be integrating our technologies over time to provide even more innovation. Ultimately, the identity challenges all of you face are unique. Each of you have different teams building the experiences that propel your organizations and people forward. We're committed to meeting you where you are and helping all of you find the solution that best addresses your identity use cases. We have a ton of exciting stuff to share with you today, but first, I wanted you to meet Auth0's CEO and co-founder, Eugenio Pace. He's joining Okta and will remain the CEO of Auth0, reporting to me. Welcome, Eugenio.
Thank you, Todd. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
So this is all about identity. Two companies coming together to build a great solution for customers all around identity. Why is identity important now for companies? What have you seen in terms of how identity applies to different companies, different organizations?
Well, if anything, 2020 has shown us that everything is digital, everything. Education, our healthcare, our entertainment, everything, it's technology surrounding us. And there's one thing that they have in common, is that they all need to know who we are. And so the opportunity is massive. I see that we have a lot of work to do still, and by working together now, we can bring that future that we imagined fast forward to the present. Instead of waiting 5 years, we can do it in 2 years.
That's a good point. One of the most exciting things for me about identity is how horizontal the opportunity is. As you look inside your customers, what do you see about how identity applies to different roles and responsibilities inside the company?
It really doesn't matter how you slice and dice this thing. It applies to everything. It's every country, every region, every customer segment, whether in media, or entertainment, or manufacturing. And inside a company, whether you're a developer building applications, whether you're a designer, or you're a product manager, or you're in a board, or you're an executive, identity is pervasive. It's universal, needs to be acknowledged in everything.
Yeah, it's a great point about how identity applies to really every role inside of a company. So we've known each other for a while, about 7 years?
8.
8 years, yeah, time flies. And I've admired Auth0 and watched you guys grow. Tell us about, from your perspective, what Auth0 stands for.
Well, the admiration is mutual. I've seen you grow as well and grow your company. And in many ways, you've been an example that we look up to. And above everything, Auth0, it's about empowering developers. It's about empowering everybody building applications in the world to make it a better world. And so if you're a builder, if you're creating apps, that's us.
What you guys have done, building a product and a community and a brand around developers, is truly impressive. So nice work on that.
Thank you.
Looking forward, what excites you most about the innovation we can build together?
Well, what is exciting, first and above everything, is that we both have the same opinion of the future. We have the same convictions about what's possible, and we can bring that what's possible today. We can do it faster. We can do it more in a global scale, in a ways that it would have taken us a longer time to realize. That's exciting.
Fast forward the future.
Yes.
Speaking of the future is all about developers. And you guys have done an amazing job building this evangelical base of developers. Tell us the secrets to that success. What have you done to make that happen?
Yeah, we founded the company with this belief that every company in the planet is a software company, even though they might not call themselves a software company. And if you're a software company, you need software developers. So therefore, every company in the planet needs software developers. And guess what? There's not enough of them. So anything that would make their life easier and simpler and would allow them to build faster, better, more secure applications would be valuable. That was a hypothesis. That's how we built Auth0. And so everything from the first contact, from searching on your favorite search engine for a problem, finding content that will explain how to solve that problem, all the way to tinkering and trying things out, which is how developers like to operate, all the way to actually committing to a contract with us. The entire journey is optimized, and we design it with that in mind, from first contact to long-term commitment. And that shows in the API design, in the documentation, in the content, in enabling everybody to become an expert without having to be an expert on this domain.
Eugenio, what you and the team have accomplished is truly impressive, and I can't wait to work with you on building the future of identity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
As Eugenio and I were saying, we're continuing to push new customer identity technologies and capabilities across both of our platforms. That's because we're never going to stop innovating. And some of the things we're announcing on the developer experience side really highlight how we're making it happen. Now I'll turn it over to Ryan, Dia, and the rest of the team to share a bit more.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you all for being here. I'm really excited to hear from key product leaders in the company about all the innovation in our products, to see that innovation in action through the form of demos. And we're going to start by talking with two key leaders in our product organization, Okta's Chief Product Officer, Dia Jolly, and our Director of Developer Relations, Emeka Afigbo. Welcome to you both.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
So Dia, let's start with you. Everybody talks about digital transformation. Obviously, developers are at the center of that, but their needs have changed over the years, specifically enterprise. Tell us how that has happened over the years.
Yeah, of course. So today, software has become an integral part of any organization. Any organization, no matter what they're selling, needs to be able to connect with their consumers digitally to be able to remain relevant and thrive. So developers obviously become a critical resource in companies, and they're scarce. Developers are the ones that are building new applications, new experiences, as well as moving forward innovation in organizations. And while doing all of this, they need to ensure that the technology that they're building is also secure. This is a lot to ask of them. New business requirements, new attack vectors, new technological innovations that they need to keep on top of and implement. So as a result, developers are always looking for tools that make their lives easier, that help them get their projects up and running faster, that help them provide rich documentation and support when they inevitably run into trouble, and that are future-proof from a requirements perspective. And now, this is what has really fueled the intense industry focus on developer frameworks, on CI/CD automation, on microservices that developers can use within their apps, and more. So the essence really is that developers just need tools that can work across their tool chains, whether they're working in a hybrid, cloud, or multi-cloud environment.
Certainly sounds challenging, and it's probably only accelerating. If that's the case, what's Okta's vision to make these developers successful?
That's a great question, Ryan. Our vision is not just to provide a world-class set of authentication and authorization services for developers. It's to actually help them also secure the applications they're building, secure their APIs, and secure their infrastructure. The goal of the Okta Identity Platform is to provide a unified platform that reduces the burden on developers to actually be able to build their apps, to be able to use the services and APIs that they need to get up and running, to be able to test their apps and deploy their apps into production. So now developers can get up and running faster than they could before, and they can focus on moving forward their business requirements. This is why we're reimagining the Okta Developer Platform and the Okta Developer Experience to speed up time to production across the application development lifecycle and also across the entire developer toolchain.
That's certainly a compelling vision. Emeka, I want to come to you. You've been a developer for a long time. As a developer yourself, what's your view on how Okta is solving these problems?
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. So first of all, I'm excited to say that we announced our enhanced developer edition. And this exposes a greater surface area of the Okta Identity Platform through an expanded free 15,000 monthly active user tier. And what this means is that whether you're a developer building a simple application or a complex application, you can now begin to design, build, and deploy all sorts of awesome digital experiences. Secondly, we're announcing a bunch of great integrations into app platforms like Heroku and API gateways like Kong. And what this means for you as a developer is that you can directly integrate Okta into your application stack. We're also releasing some new open source tooling, sample code, documentation that enables developers to really get up to speed in building their applications without needing to know all the nuances of identity before it can become productive with our platform. And thirdly, we are also excited to announce that we've enhanced our developer community with experts in different programming environments. And as a developer, this means that you can then quickly and easily find answers to your questions when you need help and get active help right in the moment when you need it.
So that's amazing. So a new 15,000 monthly active user tier that's free, integrations with Heroku and Kong, better documentation, and an enhanced community. Is that right?
Yes.
That's amazing. I'm sure people are going to be asking, when is it available and where can developers find this information?
Oh yeah, it's available right now as we speak. So all the open source integrations that we're launching, the sample apps, the documentation, everything, and the new developer edition is available at developers.okta.com like right now. You can literally, as a developer, sign up and start building and deploying your awesome digital experiences. And as we continue to innovate on our identity platform, you're going to be seeing more features and functionality available in the developer edition.
I love it. Well, Emeka, Dia, thank you. I want to actually now throw it over to the demo team so you can see some of the things that Emeka talked about in action. Demo team, take it away.
Hey everyone, I'm Danielle, a product manager here at Atco Foods, a global grocery company. We've recently decided to launch a new direct-to-consumer brand with a snack delivery service called Munchbox. The launch is ambitious. We want a Munchbox on every single sofa. So we need to get a new app with a great registration and login experience spun up right away. I've asked my lead developer, Micah, to get going on the prototype.
Thanks, Danielle. I know intimately that it usually takes months to get something like this developed and into production. And it figures that Danielle lays this on me after she assigned me, no joke, 5 other projects this morning. But it's high visibility and I want the visibility. All right, I know this is going to be a big effort and I know the app will need authentication and authorization. I've heard good things about Okta, so let's take a look at what they offer. Looks like a free Okta developer account supports a lot of users and seems to handle a lot of the hard things about building auth. It looks pretty simple to sign up and get started with GitHub or Google, so I'll use this for my prototype.
Hey, Micah. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but our execs just moved up our timeline by a month, and they want to see a prototype next week. Any ideas?
What? That's crazy. I need to rethink my whole approach to fit these new timelines. Let me grab Brian from our DevOps team and see the best way to model this out and get it into production. Brian, we have this crazy deadline. We've just had another project dropped in our lap. If I have an end-to-end app, will you be able to deploy it to production? It's going to need authorization and authentication, and Okta seems to be a great fit. Will that work for our production environment?
Hey, Micah. As long as the app is easy to containerize, then we should be good to go. And using Okta is a no-brainer. We already use it internally for SSO and even to manage access to AWS. So don't worry about it. When it's ready to go to production, I'll take care of it.
Great. Thanks, Brian. It's great to hear that I can use my developer tools to speed up the prototype and know that it will easily translate to our production environment. I'll use JHipster, an application generator, to create a React frontend and a Spring Boot backend. Then I'll deploy the application with Heroku, an application hosting service, and I'll use the Okta add-on to provision and configure an Okta instance on the fly as the authentication service. First, I'll prototype an app with JHipster and set some of the configuration here. I'm choosing Okta as the authentication provider so I don't have to build auth myself. All right, the JHipster app is done. Second, let me deploy this to Heroku. I know I can create an Okta org right from the command line, and the Heroku add-on is doing some basic Okta setup for me, including an admin user and password. And this makes it so I don't have to leave the terminal at all. It's automatically going to create an Okta developer org and assign an API token for easy integration with Munchbox. It will also create a single-page app in Okta for Munchbox with all the OAuth config filled in. While that's running, let me take a look at Okta's documentation. There's a sign-in widget here that seems to handle all of the core flows around signing in, so I don't have to build registration, login, and email validation flows for our customers by myself. That will save me a few days' work. That's all done. Now my skeleton application is created, and I'm going to log in as the admin, and I can see that I'm all set. This was great. I didn't need to spend any time implementing login and registration, which means I can focus on building out the different Munchbox pages. All done. And now I'll send it off to Danielle.
Micah, this is great. Look at all of these snacks. I know you're happy that it looks like you spent 100 hours of time on this versus the 10 you actually did because you used Okta. Our execs loved the prototype. They told me at lunch, and they said to ship it. So I'm going to ask Brian how soon he can get this app deployed to production.
Okay, so I'm going to take the app that Micah built and deploy it to Amazon's Kubernetes service using Terraform, an open source tool that creates and manages infrastructure from config files. The JHipster build already created a container, so all that was left for me to do was to update our terraforming config to include Okta. Don't tell him, but while Micah was spending all that time on the business logic for the new Munchbox application, it only took me about 10 minutes to update the terraforming config to include the Okta Terraform provider. To get the deployment started, I'll just run Terraform apply. We use the Okta Terraform provider to configure the Munchbox Okta production tenant. with a new OAuth application and the related resources, the deployment of the app to EKS, the creation of application health checks, the setup of load balancers, and finally, the DNS entries needed for the Munchbox domain. Cool. It looks like Terraform is finished. It only took about 2 minutes to deploy the app and all its dependencies. That's much faster than it used to take just to get access to the Kubernetes cluster. Danielle, you're all set. The new application has been deployed.
Let's take a look. The Munchbox app is live and the registration page looks great. Okta's developer experience made that entire process go way faster than any identity project I've ever worked on, which is going to make me look great in front of our exec team. And I suppose the team did a stellar job taking this from idea to prototype to production really fast. Kind of makes me feel like we can do anything. Like we really are making the world a better place through more efficient snacking. But hey, Micah, can you jump on those other 5 projects I assigned you in the next hour or so?
Thanks, demo team. That was great. Munchbox is certainly a great idea because I know that snacks as a service is a giant market. I wish you all a lot of luck. We're going to continue the conversation here around customer identity, but we're going to add a new voice to the mix. I'm pleased to introduce to the panel Maureen Little, our Vice President of Strategic Alliances. Welcome, Maureen.
Hey, Ryan.
So, Dia, I actually want to start with you. You can't talk about developers without talking about customer identity, and that landscape has changed a lot. From your perspective, how has it evolved most recently?
That's a great question, Ryan. So in the last year, the digital economy has fast-forwarded by nearly 5 to 7 years. Today, every organization, as we discussed, needs to have digital touchpoints with its customers and customer experiences for their customers to be able to interact with. Now, in doing so, they need to be able to bring online and offline experiences together. They need to be able to stitch together experiences across multiple products and across their partner ecosystem. All of this is extremely complicated and it's hard, but it's also extremely valuable because this is the only way to provide a compelling experience for their end customers.
That's super interesting. Talk more about that complexity. I want to hear more about that.
You can think of the complexity along 3 different vectors. First, the number of tools and technologies that developers have to use is increasing exponentially for them to be able to bring a customer experience to life. Secondly, every day there are new attacks and attack vectors, and developers have to think about them and keep their application secure. And third, the amount of customer data and information these organizations have to deal with is increasing exponentially, and developers have to build their applications in a way such that they adhere to the compliance and privacy regulations of every region. So if you think about it, building an application and a customer experience now has become much more complicated than it was ever before.
That certainly does sound complex. Okta's ecosystem, I think, plays a role in helping solve that complexity, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. When you think about this, Okta has integrated with all the partners there are across the customer experience tech stack. However, over the last 6 months, we've actually deepened our integration with 4 key categories. The first one is the tools and technologies that developers use to build and maintain their apps so that we can actually help them get to market faster. The second are tools that help assess risk and detect fraud and prevent against fraud so that developers can keep their applications secure. Third are downstream systems where customer information needs to flow, like CRM and marketing systems. And fourth are tools that developers use to ensure compliance against regional privacy regulations. Now, Okta wants to serve every developer and every customer, so we're adopting a best-of-breed approach so that you can pick the right tools and technologies for your business, for your app, and for your organization. In addition, we're taking this a step further. We're also ensuring that we have multiple integration patterns, whether that's low code, no code, or pro code, so that any team that touches customer identity, whether it's developers, security, marketing, product development, can actually use the tools that are the most effective for them.
Thanks for that detailed explanation. Emeka, I want to come to you. As a longtime developer yourself, what Dia just talked about, how is that going to help developers' lives and make it easier for them?
It's actually quite exciting, Ryan. So what this means is that as a developer, you can take things like custom scripting and setting up integrations away from your already considerable to-do list, right? And it also means that as a developer, you no longer need to worry about setting up and maintaining different integrations and deployments, because this can now be offloaded onto non-technical teams or less technical teams. And so an example of this is that if the business decides that they want to change the way identity flows into, say, a CRM application, this can be handled by either an identity team or an operations team, depending on what makes the most business sense, which then leaves the developer to focus on what we think is most important, and that is creating a great customer experience.
Wow, that's super clear. Thanks. Time to bring Maureen into the mix. Maureen, you work with a ton of our partners. I want to talk about fraud detection and risk signaling, specifically from the integration standpoint. I'd love to get your take on that.
Well, when you think about it, Ryan, organizations have to gain consumer trust, no matter what application that consumer comes in, no matter what device. So what they need is to be able to assess the risk coming in from that application. And so the first thing that we decided to do was figure out, is that person actually human? Because you want to take that insight and intelligently allow the good consumers who are actually trying to consume content or buy something through and block the bad guys. So the first step is figure out if they're human. So Okta has partnered with the leaders globally in bot detection and web application firewall, companies like Fastly, WhiteOps, F5, Perimeter X. And we're going to expand very, very soon into other kind of risk areas, behavioral data, transactional risk. And our main goal here is we want it to be easy when someone is licensing and using Okta to assess that risk and make that consumer experience seamless.
Those integrations make a ton of sense for security and for risk and for fraud. But what about the customer experience? I know we have some new customer identity workflow integrations in that area as well. Is that right?
Yeah, and actually we started first thinking about social logins. Consumers already have their social logins, so we've expanded access via social logins from our existing ones of Apple, Facebook, and Google to extend and add more companies that these consumers already use, Amazon, GitHub, and others. We're even expanding internationally into international partners like Line and WeChat. But it's more than that. So the Okta Integration Network is this amazing catalog of tools, and we're expanding into new categories like e-commerce, marketing technology, and data providers. And just really trying to make that search experience as they're discovering the tools they need access to way easier. Then finally, we're using workflows because in that real-time consumer experience, they already use big orchestration and e-commerce platforms, and we're going to use workflows to take that data into downstream systems they already use, like SendGrid, Mixpanel, and HubSpot.
Makes a ton of sense. Integrations for security, integrations for a better customer experience, more integrations, more value. Thanks, Maureen. Dia, I want to come to you. Everything that we heard about, I'm sure people want to know when they can get access to it. So I know you have the answer.
The new integrations for customer identity are available in a new catalog on our Okta Integration Network, and they're available right now for you to use and browse at okta.com/integrations. Ingesting risk signals is also available from our partners, and it's an early access and available to our customers that use our adaptive multi-factor authentication. The new workflows for customer identity is available as an add-on SKU, and the integrations that Maureen talked about with Mixpanel, SendGrid, and HubSpot are available as workflow connectors.
Exciting stuff. Thanks, Dia. And also thanks, Emeka. Thanks, Maureen. Really appreciate it. Let's turn it back over to the team at Munchbox to see a lot of what you just heard about in action. Demo team.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi again, Micah. Aren't you happy to hear from me? So I was chatting with our execs over lunch, and now that they see that we can work so quickly, they want more, and we've got more work to do. First, they want the coolest e-commerce storefront out there. I'm sure you remember that our goal is a Munchbox on every single sofa. And they want proof it's the coolest, so we need to connect our analytics system to the registration and login experience to prove people are moving through smoothly. So in other words, another low-key project for you. Are you up for it?
Wow, Danielle, so great to see you. This is a long list of complex requirements, and I can't imagine my team is going to be able to release this in any reasonable amount of time. I guess I got to go learn the HubSpot APIs and how they all work.
But don't you remember the last time? Use Okta, and this should take you much less time than it normally would. Especially with their new Okta Workflows for Customer Identity product, I've heard it'll help you set up these integrations without having to read all of those API docs.
Let's see. To make sure our customers have a smooth experience, we need to get their profile information into our CRM system, HubSpot. And Okta does have a pre-built connector and workflows for HubSpot. Looks like they've already done the hard work on understanding HubSpot's API, so I don't have to write any custom scripts or manage API tokens. I can just use the create contact action as part of a new Snacker registration workflow, or the create company action for our corporate clients. Now I don't have to learn the HubSpot API.
That is super exciting, Micah, super exciting. So I was on a casual lunch with our CMO, who is also super excited, and he said that user registration and sign-ins are key KPIs to make sure we're converting customers and driving customer delight. And I honestly think that driving customer delight is just so important these days, don't you? So I want to make sure Okta is integrated with our analytics solution Mixpanel, so we're capturing it all properly.
True to form, looks like Okta has a connector for that too. So again, I don't need to spend time reading Mixpanel's API documentation, and I can just use the create profile action to pass over the registration information that our execs are interested in. I've created a simple automated flow so that when new Snackers register for Munchbox, we create their profiles within Mixpanel and HubSpot CRM. This ensures that customer records in those systems are always up to date and are in sync. Again, Okta's taken away a lot of the custom coding work I usually have to do when building integrations, and it looks like I won't have to do any integration maintenance as Okta just handles that for me. Alright, now I'm gonna go munch on some snacks.
Oh, wow. Our marketing team just let me know that Munchbox has really become popular with the TikTok crowd over the past few weeks. Cool. We just launched a limited edition Pokemon Munchbox, and it looks like its popularity has attracted a ton of bots. And our analytics solution Mixpanel just let me know that our conversion rate is going down. Ugh. Last time this happened, our customers got stuck while bad snackers squeaked through. This is exactly the opposite of what we want, and our exec team is going to kill me. I won't be able to have lunches with them anymore. Micah, can you jump on this and fix it ASAP?
Sure, Danielle. Okta can help with this fraudulent activity. I see in Okta's system log that we're allowing a ton of bad traffic, but there's a few policies I can configure in Okta that will help. We'll use Okta's Threat Insight, Okta's native capability to detect and automated threats, and integrate with our bot mitigation solution Fastly. This will then feed into Okta's risk engine, so we're adding invisible security to block these bots without impacting legitimate snackers. In fact, I was already integrating our bot detection solution Fastly, as you can see here. The remaining steps could be done in this admin console, but I prefer to do this via API. So let me pull up Postman, which simplifies interacting with APIs. You can see the endpoint I'm calling here and the payload that I'm sending to it. Previously, I turned on Threat Insight onto audit mode to just log the suspicious activity that was occurring. Given this bot attack, I now want to change that to block mode to automatically deny suspicious activity identified by Okta. We'll send that, and you can see here we're getting a 200 OK to indicate that the change has been made. Now I need to create a new risk policy that blocks the high-risk attempts, thereby catching bad snackers and minimizing security blind spots. And I send that, and I get the 200 OK as well. Let's head back to the Okta system log, and we can see that it's logged the Threat Insight changes and added this new risk policy. We can also see risk signals from Fastly being regularly ingested into Okta, and we can see high-risk requests are now being blocked. I'm so glad I didn't have to defeat these bad snackers myself and was able to rely on Okta and Fastly's expertise to get the job done for me.
Thanks, Micah. Looks like the authentication errors are starting to go down, which means my exec lunches are going to go up. Let's check out TikTok and see how people are reacting.
Oh, hey everyone, it's Teju, your one and only average snacker, and I'm back today to review Munchbox's app. Now, as you guys know, I've been waiting forever for these Pokemon Munchbox snacks to drop, so today I'm going to review Munchbox's app, and next week I'll review my snacks. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I've already downloaded Munchbox, and the first thing I see here is a snack special for $5 a month, Definitely want to add that to my cart, and I'm liking what I see so far. And yep, here are those Pikachu snacks that I wanted too. Gonna go ahead and add those to my cart, and I should be ready to check out here. But before I can check out, it looks like I need to create an account. Makes sense. Probably just need to enter my name, email address, password, the usual stuff. So let me go ahead and do that now. Name, email, and oh, wait, no password. I can just verify my account through my email. Extra points for Munchbox on that one. Okay, so I see the email from Munchbox now, and I'm one step closer to my snacks. Now, before I can officially buy my Pokemon snacks, it looks like Munchbox is asking me for my favorite snack types, but I really just want to get straight to buying my snacks, so I'm going to skip this for now, and I'm ready to check out. Okay guys, so far I gotta say 5 out of 5 for Munchbox. Impressed with the sign up process, the UI, and I'm sure those Pokemon snacks will be great. As you guys know the deal, don't forget to subscribe, Average Snacker Teju, and I'll see you next week.
Looks like Teju is a satisfied customer of Munchbox, and so is her TikTok entourage. Thanks to Okta, I was able to ensure a seamless passwordless customer experience, learn more about snack preferences during checkout to provide promos in the future, quickly set up e-commerce and analytics to monitor our conversion rates, reduce malicious logins with Okta Threat Insight and the Risk API with our bot detection vendor Fastly, all while saving hundreds of hours of developer effort.
Don't you just love when the PM lists out all of these results like that, as if it was 1, they're doing, and 2, really easy? Normally this would annoy me more. This time I'll admit I'm ever so slightly humbled. Okta legitimately saved me months of time. I got the visibility I wanted. I'm getting promoted for owning this launch, and I was able to complete the project in less than half the time it would normally take. And now, lots of cheesy snacks.
I never get tired of seeing what the demo team pulls together. It's great to see and hear about all the incredible momentum Okta has when it comes to customer identity. But I'm also really fired up about our workforce identity innovations that will push your businesses forward. Over the last 12 years at Okta, we've seen a fundamental shift in the role identity plays for organizations. It has been heard loud and clear. You require a single solution for every user type and every use case. You need it to work for not just apps, but also infrastructure, containers, and databases. And you need to democratize and simplify how users gain resource access by empowering your business partners to determine requirements rather than centralizing with IT. You heard us talk about it in the documentary, and I'm making it official right now. Okta is breaking into both privileged access management and identity governance administration. These have both been big areas of need for your businesses, and we are not only delivering on those needs, we're doing it in the Okta way. Simple, cloud-based delivery with an emphasis on the features you need and use. I'm thrilled to introduce Okta Privileged Access and Okta Identity Governance. This is huge news for Okta and a really natural evolution for us in our platform and for identity overall. When it comes to Okta Identity Governance, we've reimagined IGA for a cloud-first world where the number of resources accessed by your workforce has dramatically increased, and your workforce itself has transformed. For Okta Privileged Access, we're not building a product for the way people used to work and for the way infrastructure used to be. We're building for the way infrastructure is today and will be in the future, cloud deployed and just in time, the way critical infrastructure access should be. Users, resources, and access policies are all the areas where Okta excels. One unified identity control plane is the best way to keep your organization secure and compliant while still keeping you nimble and innovative. With Okta Privileged Access and Okta Identity Governance built on our platform, you can have unified visibility across any type of user and any type of resource. For us, taking on more of your complexity and securely simplifying it is a natural step in giving you more freedom to grow and use technology. We're excited to tell you how we're doing it. I'll turn it over to the team to share more details.
All right, huge news from Todd right there. I'm back here with Dia with a couple of new faces. First, George Kwan and Michael Chow, both vice presidents of product management, here to talk about these new products. But Dia, I want to start with you. I know you quite well. I know one of the things that gets you really excited is entering new markets. And we're doing that clearly with IGA and PAM. But let's start first with why is Okta uniquely able to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ryan. If you look at organizations today, they're struggling basically to meet their security, compliance, and workforce productivity goals because they have limited resources. Now, they're trying to cobble together point solutions, but these point solutions cannot keep up with the dynamic nature of work and the speed of cloud modernization. Also, for many of these organizations, the cost of cobbling these point solutions together is extremely prohibitive. So what we want to do is we want to provide a unified identity platform that acts as a unified control plane that allows our customers to be able to manage their risk, their security, their policies, and also provides visibility across all types of users and all types of resources. And while we do this, we really want to be able to bring the same principles we brought to our identity access management suite of products, which is cloud first, ease of use, and ease of deployment.
That makes a ton of sense. But I imagine it's more than just a control plane, right?
That's absolutely right, Ryan. We're building our privileged access management solution not just for resources in the past, but for how resources work today. So what we're doing is we're adopting a cloud-deployed, just-in-time credential model that works not only for on-prem resources, but also for the ephemeral cloud resources of today. And in addition, we're also broadening privileged access management, not just for servers, but for other resources like Kubernetes clusters, databases, et cetera. On the identity governance side, the Okta Identity Governance product is going to be able to redefine governance for the way it should be in the cloud world. Today, there are numerous applications that customers use. There are numerous types of workforce they have, so different types of users, whether they are your employees or your partners or your contractors. All these people need the right access to the right resources and the right governance to succeed. And with Okta Identity Governance, we're trying to reimagine the identity and governance space for a cloud-first world, where organizations have many, many more resources that their workforce has to access. And the definition of the workforce itself has changed. You don't just think about employees now, you think about partners and contractors. All these people need the right access to the right resources and the right governance for them to succeed. With Okta Identity Governance, we're also providing the ability to have self-service access to resources via common tools like Slack. And in addition, we will also provide an approval request for your more sensitive applications, data, and tools. And with our workflows tool, we're going to be able to provide you the ability to build customization and automation for your business processes so that you can move your business forward.
That's super clear. I love it. So I want to turn to you next, George. George, you've actually been here so long, in fact, that you launched our now famous Universal Directory product way back when. But I want to hear from you, what can customers expect from the new Okta Identity Governance product?
That's right. I was here when we launched UD. It was a great launch. I think this might be more exciting. Okta Identity Governance is an end-to-end solution for customers to manage who has access to what. It starts with lifecycle management, which automates the lifecycle of all your users, employees, contractors. It automates provisioning to applications and infrastructure. On top of lifecycle management, we're going to introduce a new access request capability. Enable self-service for all users requesting any resource, approval workflows, granular admin roles. Really allow you to delegate all those access requests to the business. And then on the governance side, we're going to release more reporting, the ability to enforce temporary access policies, as well as access certification campaigns so that you can be successful in all of your compliance and security goals.
That's awesome. That does sound better than Universal Directory. I didn't think that was possible. I want to talk about what we've done with lifecycle management. We have pre-built integrations, low-code workflows, but specifically around governance. We have a lot of innovation there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, you know, the challenge with self-service and access requests is delivering an experience that end users love and are willing to adopt, and getting rid of all those siloed access request processes that are sprouting up in the shadows. So with Okta Identity Governance, we're going to deliver modern end user experiences through mobile and chat. And we're going to make it possible for the business to define their own access requests, rules, and approvals so they adopt a central platform. On the governance side, Okta sits in a unique place in the middle of the directory, access management, identity governance, where we can provide unique context and visibility. So we're going to provide a single pane of glass through reporting, and we're going to weave that context into our access request capabilities and access certifications so we can really streamline the process, no more rubber stamping.
That makes a lot of sense. So George, sum it up for us. Tell us about Okta Identity Governance and what customers can get from it.
Okta Identity Governance is going to help IT teams scale through more automation, delegation, self-service. It's going to drive better security and compliance outcomes, all while making the end user experience better, making getting access to the things you need actually easier. And Okta Identity Governance is going to be for organizations of all sizes, whether you are new to the governance game or whether you've been at it for a while and are looking to modernize. I'm super excited about this launch. I've been talking to so many customers. They've been pushing us in this direction for years. And now I get to look them in the face and say help is on the way.
Very exciting indeed, George. A long time coming. Thanks for that. Michael, I want to turn to you. You're relatively new to Okta, actually. And before we talk about Okta Privileged Access, I'd love to get your take on the things that Okta had built in these two areas already in our existing products.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's really impressed me the most, Ryan, is just how much investment Okta's already made in this area. George spoke about this, but with the Okta Identity Governance, this builds on top of our Universal Directory. It builds on top of our workflow capabilities and also lifecycle management. But with Okta Privileged Access, now we are leveraging the experience we've had in terms of securing infrastructure with our multi-factor authentication product and also our original advanced server access product. So I think with what's really special here is with Okta Privileged Access, our customers are now able to have a centralized control plane to control access to their Linux, their Windows servers, databases, and also Kubernetes clusters. Now, because identity is at the foundation, only Okta can really automate the lifecycle of accounts and also policies end-to-end, and then also insert governance inline auth-flows.
So it sounds like a true end-to-end solution and sounds like it's very much better for IT. But one of the things I understand about traditional PAM products is that they're not a great experience for end users. Tell us about what that's like for Okta Privileged Access.
For our users, this is actually a really seamless and easy to use single sign-on experience. Whether they are logging into a monitoring dashboard with their web browser or they're logging into a Windows server with their local RDP client. But behind the scenes, our customers now have flexible policies for role-based access, attribute-based access, and also time-based access to really deliver just-in-time least privileged access. And to meet the demands of compliance, we audit every single login capabilities, and we fully capture all the activity that's coming in your SSH and also RDP sessions. Now, with everything tied to identity and unified to a single platform, we've really made it easy for these security teams to compile their reports and to compile their regular audits.
That's super clear. The Okta Advanced Server Access product has been out there for a while, really successful with customers. A ton of customers are using it. Tell us about how Okta Privileged Access builds on top of what we already have with Okta Advanced Server Access.
That's a really good point, Ryan. With our Advanced Server Access product, we've really made it very easy for the users to use, but we've made it easier to deploy, regardless of whether they're running hybrid cloud or they're running multi-cloud. And we deliver these administrative controls as SaaS, just as you would expect from Okta. Now, just as a benchmark, we've had our customers deploy Advanced Server Access to hundreds of thousands of servers. And with other products, they weren't really able to do that. So with Okta Privileged Access, our new product, we're able to help our customers protect even more resource types and layer on even more security and auditability.
Well, that's very compelling, Michael. Very excited about Okta Privileged Access and Okta Identity Governance. I want to know when customers can get their hands on these products. George, let's start with you. When will customers be able to get Okta Identity Governance?
Yeah, Okta Identity Governance will be available in Q1 of 2022. It will be available starting at $9 per user per month. So really excited about that. But to remind you, you can go make use of Universal Directory, lifecycle management workflows today, really implementing a lot of automation to start to solve some of those governance needs.
And that's also a great reminder. You don't have to wait to get started. You can start now with a lot of the great capabilities in our lifecycle management products.
Yeah, that's right.
So Michael, I want to come to you next. When can people expect to get their hands on Okta Privileged Access?
Okta Privileged Access is going to be available in Q1 2022 as well. And pricing starts at $45 per PAM unit per month. But you don't have to wait until then to get started. With our advanced server access product, our customers can secure their server fleet today. And we've made a lot of improvements since the last Octane for compliance with our SSH session capture. And for our customers that have Windows environments backed by Active Directory, we have a lot of really great improvements coming there as well. We've heard from our customers that servers are the most important resources to protect with privileged access. So we can get you on the right path today.
That's awesome. 2 new products, Okta Privilege Access, Okta Identity Governance, both coming soon, but customers don't need to wait to get started. And actually, we talked a lot about these products, but what we want to do next is show you these products. So let's send it back over to the demo team to see them in action.
Hello, I'm Lance. I'm a site operations manager here at Atco Foods. I run a number of IT projects globally, reporting directly to our CIO.
Hey, what's up, Lance? I'm Aaron, a security analyst responsible for helping our compliance team assemble audit reports for FedRAMP, SOX, and PCI DSS.
Aaron, do you remember when we used to have separate systems for identity governance and privileged access management? It was really hard to execute access requests, meet compliance requirements, and control access to sensitive resources in a simple and orchestrated way.
You know what was also hard for me, Lance? Every quarter at audit time, you and all the other app owners called me the fun police because I pestered y'all for audit logs. And then I had to spend weeks cleaning your dirty data for the compliance team.
Well, that's about to change, Aaron. You see, because we're already using the Okta Identity Cloud, I was very pleased to see the new Okta Identity Governance and Okta Privileged Access products, which will help us unify key elements of our IT and business strategy. You know, when it comes to sensitive access, I want a process that is transparent, seamless, and agile. The new Okta Identity Governance integrates with our existing collaboration tools, such as Slack, making this process incredibly smooth. It is a simple, automated experience when users need access to any Okta app, for example, Zendesk. But don't take it from me. Let me ask Teju, who is new to the team, what does she think about this process? Teju?
You're right, Lance. I'll admit I definitely came here for the Munchbox snacks, but getting access to systems here at Atco has been great. Now, as a site reliability engineer, I typically need access to various resources like infrastructure in AWS, collaboration tools, and some on-prem tools that we use for ongoing maintenance. Now, all of those apps were assigned to me on day one, but let me tell you, the last company I worked with, it took weeks for me to get access to systems, while other full-time employees got access to apps much, much faster. So I was definitely pleased when I came on board here to see everything standardized on Okta and even built into the tools that I use day to day. Now, it's great that I can just pop into Slack to create these access requests instead of having to go through clunky, old school systems. Now, that reminds me, I actually do need to request access to Zendesk to monitor some of our internal security tickets. So because Zendesk wasn't assigned to me on day one, I'm going to go ahead and create a new access request with Okta. Now, in the list here, I'll choose access to applications, and I'll choose Zendesk in the list, provide a quick justification like ticketing. Now, all right, I'm going to go ahead and submit this request and see if it gets approved.
I got an access request. It's from Teju. Okta Governance notifies me in real time whenever someone asks for or is granted access to production systems. In fact, Okta just messaged me via Slack to let me know Teju requested access to Zendesk. Since all of our site reliability engineers should have access to this app, I'll go ahead and approve access for her.
Okay, great. It looks like my access to Zendesk was approved. That was super quick. And I noticed at the same time that Atco's Okta review bot just pinged me asking to recertify my access to Dynatrace. I'm not really sure what this notification is about. I haven't seen it before, but I do still need access to Dynatrace to monitor some of our servers. So I'm going to go ahead and choose yes here. In the justification, provide another quick justification like I did before, like server monitoring. I think that should be good enough. And we'll go ahead and submit that. But hey, Aaron, since I hadn't seen that notification before, could you tell me what it's all about?
So what you saw was a Smarter Access review. It automatically prompts users to self-certify their access and is triggered by signals unique to Okta. In your case, Teju, the signal was inactivity. You just hadn't logged into Dynatrace over the past 30 days. This is less fatiguing on reviewers, and it saves time. The other benefit is that Okta captures these self-certification events for audits, and it even sends them to me via email. And this is great because I no longer have to pester Lance to get me audit reports ASAP all the time. It's all right here.
I appreciate that, Aaron. But you know what? Auditing and governance for applications is great, but it's not everything. We also need to ensure we can manage fine-grained access policies to infrastructure. Okta Privileged Access helps us manage access to more sensitive resources and adhere to the principle of least privilege. Let's see what that looks like for Teju.
Okay, so I confirmed earlier that I do still need access to Dynatrace, and I was even able to connect to Dynatrace directly from Slack, which is cool. But now, oh man, I'm thinking I shouldn't have done that. I just gave myself more work. One of our database servers' CPUs is running at 0%. I should probably go and fix that. I think this has happened before, and all I need to do is restart SQL on that server. So I'm gonna pop back over to Slack now and create a new access request. And this time I'll choose to access servers. And yep, in the list here, I can see that database server that I need access to. I'll go ahead and request access for about, I think 3 days should be good enough to do some ongoing monitoring, provide another justification, like I need to fix stuff. All right, that should be good enough. I'm gonna go ahead and submit this. Now that request is fired off. Let's see if it gets approved.
I got a new access request. It's from Teju. This looks like Teju needs access to one of our SQL database servers. Let's get her in. I love how this whole process is nicely integrated into Slack. It has helped us achieve widespread adoption of our privileged access processes. Among other things, I can see that this server is actually running in production. So before I approve, I do want to make sure I can see all of the relevant attributes of this server. Okta connects with our downstream infrastructure providers to pull in all of the resource tags required, making it really easy for people like me to know what are the right policies and what levels of access to apply, without having to go through security every time. Here, in the Okta dashboard, I can actually see all the information I need about this server. Let's see. It looks like this is a Windows machine running on AWS. It is tagged for sensitive data. And look, it is also tagged for PCI compliance. Because this is a PCI compliant system, I'll need to make sure Teju gets access only for a limited time. Slack is also telling me that Teju requested access for only 3 days. This actually complies with our PCI server policies, so I'll go ahead and approve access for her as well. One more thing that I love about Okta is the ability to apply time-limited access to privileged systems automatically. This way, Teju can get to this task in her own time, and I do not need to worry about removing access afterwards to meet compliance.
Okay, great. That was super quick. Just like my request to Zendesk from earlier, my request to that database server got approved. Thanks for that, Lance. So now I'm going to log on to that server directly from Slack. This is a Windows server, so I'll use my local RDP client to log in. That's already nicely integrated with Okta for single sign-on, so I don't need to enter any additional credentials, even for these Windows Server domain joined machines. And of course, it looks like my actions on this server are going to be recorded. IT is always spying on me. I'll try not to break anything here, but no promises. Okay, so I'm logged on to that server now. I'll go ahead and start up services. We'll find SQL here, give that a little kick. And okay, that's up and running. And phew, another fire was put out.
You know, doing these audits used to be really painful. Whenever I asked our business app owners for access data, they took weeks to copy this on USB drives or to print it on spreadsheets. Come on, do you still write checks at the grocery store too? Fortunately, Okta eliminates the manual work of collecting access data and consolidates it under one umbrella. I can see who has access to our applications and infrastructure. For our more advanced compliance requirements, I can even view recordings of what people did in our Linux and Windows servers. So, looks like Okta sent me a report that shows recent access requests. This report also details any privileged actions that users performed. Okta captures all privileged SSH and RDP sessions and then dumps the logs into a secure S3 bucket in AWS. Now, Teju's latest session was on a Windows server, so let's check out that video. All right, I can see Teju in the server. It looks like she's opening up the Services app, and from there she's restarting the database. So far, so good. And it looks like she's closed the session. Perfect, nothing suspicious to flag here. So I love how this all came together. Standardizing all of our access and governance needs with Okta has really unified our security posture from auth to audit. All of our reports are generated and consolidated in one platform, so I don't need to pester our team for updates anymore. And from the looks of it, these jokers, dear coworkers, appreciate that.
With all our identity and access management requirements, including governance and privileged access, consolidated into a single platform, we are finally able to streamline access requests, meet compliance, and better control access to sensitive resources in a modern way, using modern tools that do not hamper employee productivity, but the pace of business. We are much better off now, thanks to Okta.
So as we get ready to wrap this up, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to the demo team, to the product experts you saw on the panel, and to everybody behind the scenes who made all this possible with these great product innovations coming your way soon. With that, I want to turn it back over to you, Todd.
I am very proud of the innovation we're bringing you today. From joining forces with Auth0 to launching Okta Privileged Access and Okta Identity Governance. As we roll out these new solutions in the coming months, you'll witness the benefits of incredible extensibility, security network effects, and a unified identity solution for every use case you can imagine. Everything the team does is about helping to push your organizations forward, whether that be for your own workers and their productivity and security, or for your customers who rely on your digital experiences to run their lives. I believe that the future is at Okta, and that we're on the way to achieving our vision of enabling everyone to safely use any technology. I am extremely proud of what the team has accomplished this year, and even more fired up for what's to come. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks for being a part of Okta.